To create the utility plan, you're going to just really continue with the document that you have for now, which should be already the layout, curve tables, and the surface. And if you don't have the surface, that's fine. It really doesn't really matter which order you go to. But nonetheless, to create the utility plan, I'm going to use this layout here. I'm going to turn off the surface. I don't need to see it for now. So I'm going to go over here to surface properties. And you should have a style already defined called no display. And what that is, it just has all the surface contours and everything turned off, so you don't see them. I guess in this case, it did leave those little tick marks, which is not a problem. I think it just kind of gets it out of the way. Because as far as the utility plans, I'm not sure if I mentioned to you, but it's usually a offset of the center line. It doesn't have to be, but it usually is. So in this case, I'm just gonna, I don't, and if they tell you, hopefully they'll tell you what those offsets are. If not, you can just assume them. You don't want to be too close to the right of way. You can probably safely go with a number of 10 feet, maybe to the north for our water, and then to the north, and then maybe to the east for water. And it doesn't have to be that way, but I'm just saying so you can establish some type of uniformity. And then sewer, if they didn't tell you what that would be, you can go the opposite other way, 5 feet instead of the 5 feet, maybe 3 feet, and you can go with sewer lines on the south side of all the right of ways, including down here, and then up here, and then maybe to the east would be the sewer lines, and then water, so on and so forth. So it's just offsets of the center lines. Should be pretty easy to do. So with those numbers being said, what I would ask you guys to do is to create your own layer. Um, since it's gonna be a bunch of layers that are in here, if I were to just create a water one, it would be way at the bottom. So there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think they're gonna really look at your layer structure. So for me, so that I can see it first on the list, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna um, call it one, or it can be any number, three or something. But if you notice, there's no other numbers on the layer, so any number will actually show up first on the list. So let's say I'm gonna call it four dash water line, and it doesn't have to be a four. Once again, it's just so that it shows up on top of the list. And as far as the color, water, I'm just going to go with a kind of a understood blue is usually what you see for water, and hit OK. We'll talk about the line type next. Maybe I might make another video for it, but for now, I'm just going to go with waterline blue, and then I'm going to set that current. So from here, I'm going to offset 10 feet to the north, and then I can just go ahead and right away. And once again, notice how it's going to come up towards the top. You can just go to waterline, and then I'm going to offset 10 feet in this direction, and then like I said, to the north, and then just start doing your layout of your water line to begin with. I'm going to trim this guy back, and then match properties. Don't forget your simple commands of match properties that you can use, basic AutoCAD commands. And then 10 feet to the, I think I said east last time, but I'm just going to go west. And as long as it's consistent, that's all it is. It's just if you're going to offset it in one direction, just make sure you keep it in that same direction and don't flip flop from one roadway to another. There you go. And then match properties here, and then I'm going to go 10 feet to the north. Of course, here's going to be 10 feet to the north, and then 10 feet to the west is the consistent thing there that I'm going to do. Okay. And then as far as sewer, same thing. I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to number it just so it can shows up on top of the list, 5 dash sewer. Typical color for sewer is usually green. Doesn't have to be, but just to have a color different from the water. And then I'm going to make that one. It doesn't necessarily have to be current, but nonetheless. And then I think I mentioned 3 feet to the south and then to the east. And then I'm going to change those to be. And then the other thing that's nice about this too is when from the list, I could just click here and then type the number 5, and it goes right to that sewer layer. Since I use that 5 instead of it being a letter, I just simply type 5, so offset 3. And just to show you again that I can click here, and type 5. It shows up right away. But again, don't forget that you can also use your match properties. Let radius 0, and then trim this guy back here. I kind of really don't like to leave those little segments there. And then I'm going to go offset 3 on this way and just keep it consistent. Click here, type 5, and then extend. Okay, so that's our sewer line. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start drawing in, because that's really pretty much it for our layout. Um, there's a few other things that we're going to do in those utility lines, but the next thing I'm going to do, because it's a little tedious, is to draw our lines to service the lots. So usually it's along the middle, and I'll just start with this one. I'm going to draw a line nearest from here, and then orthographic or just parallel to the lot. And it's usually about 5 feet to 10 feet. If you draw it a little longer, that's fine. Just something that looks nice, maybe a little longer so it goes beyond this text. And then I'm going to copy this guy over here. And then, you usually kind of separate those about 10 feet away from each other. And then I'm going to extend this one over to the sewer. And then one will be specifically for water service, and then the other one will be sewer service to that lot. And then from there, you're going to go and copy those, and then just go nearest. And then just however techniques you need to do, and you really just need to do that to every single lot to provide water and sewer. The cul-de-sacs got a little weird because here you would draw a line from the water. And you always want to do this where if you're going to do water on the left and sewer on the right, you want to do the same thing when you're facing the lots. So meaning kind of like if I'm facing this way, it's going to be water on this side and then sewer on the next side. Let me offset 10. Okay, make sure they're kind of close to the middle, más o menos. And then water will be on the, like again, I'm facing the lot, so it'll be on the left. So if I'm facing it this way, it'll be on this side, will be water, and then sewer will be on this side. So I'm gonna match. So it'll be kind of the opposite. And that really helps because when you're doing that and you have lots that are facing each other, let me see, maybe something like this. That way you always have, they won't be crossing each other. So like, let's say I have this lot, water line, water service coming in. It's going to be on the left. I'm here this way. And then sewer 10 going this way. I'm going to extend this one, properties. And then that's why I'm saying that if you go from the left side facing the lot, offset 10 feet, and turn this one to here, and then that's going to be your water and sewer. So you won't really have this type of thing. Well, you will, but nonetheless, as the water will be connecting here on the left, and then right, and then like if you're facing this way, it's going to be on the left and the right, and then that way it's just consistent. It's kind of like the water at your house, where hot water is on the left and cold water is always on the right. So it's kind of the same thing here with our lot lines. The cul-de-sacs, this one's pretty easy. You can just simply take the same connection, put it at the middle of the cul-de-sac lot. You might have to extend them individually because they do need to go into the lots. So when they get to the corners, especially like this lot right in here, there's really no set way of doing that. You can probably connect it from the corner, from here, and then the sewer. Let me see, let me offset 10 feet. There's no really magical location. So I'm still going to kind of place it in the middle of the lot right there. And then I'll extend the water. And then the sewer will be, water is going to be on the left. And then the sewer is the one that's going to be going all the way across to there. So that way it stays with the same order, that water's on the left, water's on the left. And you can notice this now has a connection. So you have to kind of do those to all of those. On the next video, I'll show you how to create a line type so that it makes these look very, very nice.